Hey warriors, listen up. There is a strength that the world cannot touch. It is a strength that does not beg for attention. It is a strength that does not rise and fall with the moods of other people. It is a strength that stays standing when everything and everyone walks away. I am talking about a different kind of strength, the kind that grows in silence, when nobody is clapping for you, when nobody is watching, when excuses have nowhere to hide. Most men fear solitude for one simple reason. Solitude reveals the real you. When you are alone, you cannot perform. You cannot blame your mood on the room. You cannot copy the energy of other people. You cannot borrow confidence from attention. It is just you and the truth. And that truth can feel brutal. Because solitude does not only show your power, it exposes your weakness too. It shows you the habits you keep dodging, the goals you keep talking about but never touch, the emotions you keep burying under noise, the fake identity you built just to fit in. That is why most men stay busy. They fill every empty moment with noise. They stay surrounded. They keep relationships they do not even respect, because loneliness feels safer than self-honesty. But society lies to you. It teaches you that being alone is a problem, that connection is safety, that approval equals value, that if you are not constantly seen, you do not matter. And that lie creates weak men. Machiavelli understood something most people will never admit. Solitude is not abandonment. Solitude is preparation. It is where weak identities collapse and unbreakable men are forged. Because in solitude, you are not distracted by what people think. You are not controlled by emotional dependency. You stop chasing validation like a hungry dog. You start seeing patterns. You start thinking clearly. You start moving with control instead of craving. Solitude teaches you to stand without support, to decide without permission, to build without applause. And once a man learns that, he becomes dangerous in the best way. In this video, you will learn 7 dark power lessons about solitude, how isolation builds mental dominance, emotional independence, and strategic control. Stay with me, because when you understand this, you will stop fearing being alone, and you will start using solitude like a weapon. Before we go deeper, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Silence makes me strong. Number 1. Solitude reveals the hidden version of you. The person you are around others, that is not you. That is a performance, a costume, a character you play to survive social situations. You laugh when you do not find things funny. You agree when you do not actually agree. You hide opinions that might make people uncomfortable. You smile through conversations that bore you to death. Why? Because humans are social creatures, and we have learned to adapt. We mirror. We adjust. We bend ourselves into shapes that fit the group. But here is the problem with that. When you spend all your time performing, you forget who you actually are. You lose touch with your real thoughts, your real desires, your real instincts. Solitude strips away performance. No audience, no validation, no mask. In isolation, a different version of you emerges. Calmer under pressure, colder in decision-making, ruthless when necessary. This version is not shaped by comfort or applause. It is shaped by clarity. Think about the last time you were truly alone for days. Not just a few hours. Not just an evening. I mean days without seeing anyone, without talking to anyone, without the pressure to be on. What happened? At first it probably felt uncomfortable, maybe even scary. The silence was too loud. Your thoughts were too honest. You noticed things about yourself you had been avoiding. But if you stayed in that space long enough, something shifted. You stopped caring what imaginary people thought. You stopped rehearsing conversations in your head. You stopped worrying about how you looked, how you sounded, whether you were likable. And in that space, the real you woke up. The version of you that does not need permission, does not need approval, does not apologize for taking up space. This is the version Machiavelli was talking about. He understood that power begins when a man stops needing to be liked. Because when you need to be liked, you are controllable. People can use your desire for acceptance against you. They can guilt you, pressure you, manipulate you into doing things that do not serve you. But when you have spent enough time alone, when you faced yourself in complete silence, you become immune to that manipulation. You stop moving based on what feels good socially. You start moving based on what is actually right for you. That is the hidden version of you, the one that only shows up when the crowd disappears. And here is what most people do not realize. That version is stronger. It does not panic when left alone. It does not fall apart without constant reassurance. It does not need to fill silence with pointless noise. It sits in the discomfort and waits, observes, plans. Solitude is where you meet the man you are supposed to become, not the one society trained you to be, the one who was buried under years of trying to fit in. And once you meet him, everything changes. You walk different. You talk different. You move through the world with a quiet certainty that intimidates people because they can feel it. They can sense that you are no longer playing the game. You are not competing for their attention. You are not begging for a seat at their table. You have built your own table, and you are sitting there alone, completely fine with it. That is power. That is the hidden version, and it only comes out in solitude. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I become real alone. Number 2. Solitude is strategy, not loneliness. Let me clear something up right now. Solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. Loneliness is what happens when you are surrounded by people but feel disconnected, when you are in a relationship but feel unseen, when you are at a party but feel invisible. Loneliness is the pain of wanting connection and not having it. Solitude is different. Solitude is a choice, a deliberate decision to step back, pull away, and create space between you and the noise. Loneliness is weakness. Solitude is strategy, and this is where most men get it twisted. They confuse isolation with rejection. They think if they are alone, it means nobody wanted them. So they avoid it. They keep themselves constantly surrounded, constantly distracted, constantly plugged into other people's energy. But the strategic man, he knows better. He steps away not because he is running from people, but because he is running toward clarity. Because here is the truth. Most people do not help you think. They interrupt your thinking. They bring their stress into your space. They dump their problems on your table. They talk about nothing important for hours and call it bonding. And while you are sitting there nodding along, pretending to care about their drama, your goals are collecting dust. Your plans are sitting unfinished. Your mind is cluttered with their noise. Solitude gives you distance, and distance creates perspective. When you step back from people, you start to see patterns you could not see up close. You see who actually respects your time and who wastes it. You see which relationships give you energy and which ones drain you. You see the habits you picked up from others that are not even yours. Perspective creates control because once you see clearly, you can act deliberately. You stop reacting to every text, every call, every invitation. You stop saying yes out of guilt. You stop showing up to things you do not care about, just to avoid feeling left out. You start protecting your time like it is the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must know when to engage and when to withdraw. He must not be so available that he becomes common, so predictable that he becomes boring. The same applies to you. When you are always around, always available, always saying yes, people stop valuing your presence. They take you for granted. They assume you will always be there, so they stop appreciating when you show up. But when you pull back, when you disappear for a while, when you stop being the guy who is always free, people notice. They start wondering where you went, what you are doing, why you are not around anymore. And that wondering creates curiosity. Curiosity creates respect. This is strategy. You are not hiding. You are not sulking. You are not punishing anyone. You are just choosing yourself over the crowd. You are choosing focus over distraction. You are choosing building over belonging. And the beautiful thing about this, the right people will understand. They will respect your space. They will not guilt you for taking time alone. They will not make you feel bad for prioritizing your growth. The wrong people, they will get angry. They will accuse you of changing. They will say you think you are better than them, and that is how you know who to cut off, because the people who fear your solitude are the people who were using your presence. They needed you available so they could lean on you, vent to you, distract themselves with you. But the man who uses solitude strategically does not need to be needed. He does not build his identity around being helpful to everyone. He builds his identity around being powerful for himself. And once you understand this, once you start treating alone time as a weapon instead of a weakness, you become untouchable. While everyone else is chasing connection, you are chasing clarity. While they are reacting, you are planning. While they are scattered, you are focused. Isolation, when chosen, becomes a weapon, and the man who knows how to use it will always be 10 steps ahead of the man who is afraid of it. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose clarity. Number 3. Silence destroys illusions. Noise protects lies. Silence exposes them. Let me explain what I mean. When your life is full of noise, music, TV, social media, conversations, parties, constant movement, it is easy to lie to yourself. You can tell yourself you are happy when you are not. You can convince yourself you are making progress when you are standing still. You can pretend your life is going somewhere when deep down you know you are stuck. Noise gives you permission to ignore the truth. It distracts you from the uncomfortable questions. Am I actually happy, or am I just busy enough to not notice I am not? Am I building something real, or am I just staying busy to feel productive? Do I even like the person I am becoming, or am I just copying what I see online? These are hard questions. Questions most men never ask themselves because they never sit in silence long enough to hear them. But when you are alone long enough, when the noise dies down and it is just you and your thoughts, the lies stop working. Excuses collapse. False confidence fades. Fake ambition is revealed. Solitude forces you to confront your laziness, your emotional dependencies, your borrowed identity. Let us talk about laziness first. Most men are not lazy in the traditional sense. They are busy. They are always doing something, but they are busy with the wrong things. They will scroll for 2 hours, but say they do not have time to read. They will watch 5 episodes of a show, but claim they are too tired to work on their goals. They will spend all weekend partying, but complain they cannot find time to build. That is not a time problem. That is a priority problem. And you only realize that in silence, when you are alone, you cannot blame distractions. You cannot say you did not have time because the time is right there staring you in the face. Either you use it or you waste it. And in solitude, wasting it feels heavier. Now, let us talk about emotional dependencies. Most men are more emotionally dependent than they realize. They need their girlfriend to text them good morning, or their day feels off. They need their boys to hype them up, or they lose motivation. They need likes on their posts, or they feel invisible. They need external validation to feel like they matter. And in the noise, they do not notice how weak that makes them. But in silence, in solitude, you realize how much of your emotional state is controlled by other people, how your mood swings based on who texted you back, how your confidence drops when someone does not acknowledge you, how empty you feel when you are not getting attention. That is dangerous because it means you do not own your emotions. Other people do, and once you see that clearly, you can fix it. You can start building emotional independence, self-validation, inner stability, but you cannot fix what you cannot see, and noise keeps you blind. Finally, let us talk about borrowed identity. Most men do not have an identity. They have a collection of other people's opinions. They dress a certain way because that is what is cool. They talk a certain way because that is how their friends talk. They chase certain goals because that is what society says success looks like. But none of it is actually them. It is borrowed, copied, fake, and in the noise, they never realize it. But when you sit alone long enough, when you strip away the audience, the act falls apart. You start asking yourself, do I actually want this, or do I just think I should want it? Do I actually believe this, or am I just repeating what I heard? Do I actually like this version of me, or am I just playing a role? And those questions hurt because the answers are usually uncomfortable. You realize a lot of what you thought was you was just performance, imitation, a mask. But here is the power in that realization. Once illusion dies, power becomes real. Once you stop lying to yourself, you can start building something true. Once you stop pretending, you can start becoming. And that version of you, the real one, the one that only exists in silence, is the most dangerous version because it is not trying to impress anyone. It is not performing for approval. It is just moving, building, growing, without noise, without distraction, without lies. That is the man who wins. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Truth makes me dangerous. Number 4. Emotional independence creates power. Power is not about how much money you make. It is not about how strong you are. It is not even about how smart you are. Power is about control. And the first thing you need to control is yourself, specifically your emotions. Because if you cannot control your emotions, someone else will. A man who needs validation is predictable. Predictable men are easy to manipulate. Think about it. If your mood depends on whether people compliment you, I can control you by withholding compliments. If your confidence depends on attention, I can break you by ignoring you. If your happiness depends on approval, I can own you by threatening to take that approval away. When you depend on others emotionally, you hand them control. Their approval lifts you. Their absence breaks you. And that is not power. That is slavery. Emotional slavery. You are walking around thinking you are free, but really, you are on a leash. And the people you depend on are holding it. Your girlfriend holds it when you need her validation to feel like a man. Your friends hold it when you need their approval to feel confident. Social media holds it when you need likes to feel relevant. Your boss holds it when you need his praise to feel valuable. You are not free. You are reacting. And reactive men are weak men. But solitude cuts that leash. Because when you spend enough time alone, you stop needing people emotionally. You learn to validate yourself. You learn to find peace in your own company. You learn that you do not need anyone's approval to know your worth. And once you learn that, you become impossible to control. Let me give you an example. 2 men get rejected by a woman. The first man is emotionally dependent. He bases his value on whether women want him, so when she rejects him, he falls apart. He feels worthless. He questions everything about himself. He obsesses over what he did wrong. His whole emotional state is destroyed because one person said no. That is weak. The second man is emotionally independent. He knows his value does not come from her opinion, so when she rejects him, he is fine. He does not take it personally. He moves on without a second thought. His emotional state is untouched because it is not tied to her decision. That is power. Same situation, completely different outcomes, and the difference is emotional independence. The second man built that independence in solitude. He spent time alone. He got comfortable with himself. He learned to enjoy his own company. He stopped needing external validation to feel whole. And because of that, he is untouchable. Nobody can hurt him by leaving. Nobody can manipulate him with approval. Nobody can control him with attention. He is free, and freedom is the highest form of power. Machiavelli understood this better than most. He said that a prince who depends on others for his safety will never be secure. The same applies to your emotions. If your happiness depends on others, you will never be happy. If your confidence depends on others, you will never be confident. If your peace depends on others, you will never have peace. Because people are unreliable. They change, they leave, they betray, they disappoint. But if you build your emotional foundation on yourself, on your own thoughts, your own values, your own self-respect, then nobody can take it from you. You become the source of your own stability, and that stability is magnetic. People respect it. They are drawn to it. They sense that you do not need them, and that makes them want you more. It is ironic, but it is true. The less you need people emotionally, the more they want to be around you, because needy energy repels, independent energy attracts. Think about the people in your life who are always needy, always seeking validation, always fishing for compliments, always trying to get you to make them feel good about themselves. How do you feel around them? Exhausted, right? Drained, because they are emotional vampires. They take energy, they do not give it. Now think about the people who are emotionally independent. The ones who are fine with or without you. The ones who do not need constant reassurance. How do you feel around them? Comfortable, relaxed, drawn to them because they are not taking from you. They are just existing in their own power, and that power feels good to be around. That is who you become in solitude. The man who stands alone emotionally cannot be owned. He cannot be manipulated. He cannot be pressured. He cannot be guilt-tripped. He is free to make decisions based on what is right for him, not based on keeping people happy. And that makes him dangerous in the best possible way. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am enough. Number 5. Distance creates fear and respect. Let me tell you something about human nature that most people will not admit. Familiarity breeds contempt. The more available you are, the less people value you. The more they see you, the less special you become. The more you share, the less mystery you have, and mystery is everything. Because mystery creates curiosity. Curiosity creates interest. Interest creates respect. And in some cases, even fear. Not fear in a violent way, fear in a psychological way. The fear of losing access to something valuable. The fear of not knowing what someone is thinking. The fear of being on the outside of someone's world. Power is not built through closeness. It is built through distance. Think about the people you respect most in your life. Chances are, they are not the ones who are always around. They are not the ones blowing up your phone. They are not the ones oversharing every thought and feeling. They are the ones who are selective, mysterious, hard to read. You do not know everything about them, and that makes you want to know more. You do not have unlimited access to them, and that makes their time feel valuable. You cannot predict them, and that makes them interesting. Distance creates that, and distance is a choice. Most men make the mistake of thinking that being close to people builds loyalty. They think that being available 24/7 makes them valuable. They think that sharing everything makes them trustworthy, but it does not. It makes them common, and common things do not command respect. Machiavelli warned that rulers lose power when they become too accessible. When a king walks among the people every day, they stop seeing him as a king. They see him as one of them. And once that happens, his authority crumbles. The same applies to you. If you are always available, always responding, always saying yes, people stop seeing you as valuable. They start seeing you as convenient. And convenient is not powerful. But when you create distance, when you are selective with your time, when people have to earn access to you, everything changes. Suddenly your time feels rare. Suddenly your attention feels like a gift. Suddenly people start wondering what you are doing when you are not around. And that wondering is where respect grows. Let me give you a real example. Two guys in the same friend group. Guy number 1 is always available. He shows up to everything. He responds to every text immediately. He is the first to say yes to any plan. He is easy, predictable, reliable. Guy number 2 is selective. He shows up when he wants to. He does not respond to every text. He says no more than he says yes. He is busy with his own life. Hard to pin down. Unpredictable. Who do you think the group respects more? Guy number 2. Every time. Because his presence feels earned. His time feels valuable. His attention feels like something you have to work for. Guy number 1. He is just there. He is background noise. And that is the difference it makes. Now, I am not saying you should ghost people or play games. I am saying you should protect your energy, guard your time, be selective about who gets access to you, because not everyone deserves it. Some people just want to waste your time. Some people just want to take from you. Some people just want to keep you around as an option. And if you are always available, you are giving them exactly what they want without getting anything in return. But when you create distance, you filter out the takers. The people who only wanted you when you were convenient disappear. And the people who actually value you, they stay. They respect your boundaries. They appreciate your time even more, because they know it is limited. If you want respect, reduce access. So I am going to leave you with this. Stop fearing silence. Stop running from being alone. Stop filling every empty moment with noise. Sit with yourself. Face yourself. Build yourself. In the quiet, you will find the answers you have been looking for. In the solitude, you will become the man you were meant to be. And when you walk back into the world, you will not be asking for a place at the table. You will be building your own. Now, if this video hit you differently, if you felt something shift while watching it, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel if you want more lessons like this, raw, real, and unfiltered. Because I am not here to make you comfortable, I am here to make you powerful. Return different, because the man who masters solitude masters everything.